You don't have a willpower problem, you have a system problem. Hi, my name is Rachel and I run a women's body transformation program called Level Up, where we help busy women just like you to finally drop stubborn body fat and gain life-changing confidence without restriction and without overwhelm. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about why snacking isn't down to a lack of discipline and why beating yourself up over it is not going to help anyone. You don't have a self-control problem, and that's the reason why you're stuck. So strap yourself in, because today's episode is going to be a great one. The problem is, and I know this is the case for so many of you, you believe that snacking is down to a lack of self-control. And when you snack, you then feel guilty because you think, oh my God, I don't have very good self-control. But that's where it starts, right? That is the main problem. Most women thinking that snacking is down to the lack of self-control, which means that they must be weak. They must not have discipline. That is not the case. But the problem with that mindset is it causes you to then feel guilty. And when you feel guilty, you then create more restriction. And when you create restriction, that then leads to you snacking even more. And you stay stuck in this cycle for God knows how long. And that's why you feel frustrated. And that's why you look at other people and go, oh, it's all right for them. They must be really disciplined. They must have so much willpower. But no, the reality is snacking isn't down to a lack of willpower. It's impacted by so many other things. Your environment, your energy, your stress, your habits, even your self-talk. The list genuinely goes on and on. But the good news is, if you've come onto this episode thinking you have no willpower, that's not actually the reason as to why you keep snacking. So look, let's break this down. Number one, your environment. If your environment, the place where you spend most of your time, at home, at work, wherever that might be, is full of less healthy foods, junk food, ultra-processed food, whatever you want to call it, you are genuinely having to rely on discipline every single day to not eat that food because it's always there, so you can always see it. And that becomes so exhausting. And the problem is you might not always be able to control that environment. You can't control what other people bring into work. You can't control maybe what your partner has at home to some extent. But you're so worried about trying to control everything that you end up feeling exhausted when you can't control it all. And that's the problem. What you must do is control what you can. You can still control your food, the food that goes in your mouth, the food you buy, but you can also do an uncomfortable thing that most of you will probably go, not going to do it, but I strongly suggest that you do. Speak to those closest to you. Speak to whoever you live with, whoever you work with, and explain to them why this is important to you and get them to understand why you're doing what you're doing. You're not a bad person for thinking that or for doing that, but also they might not even have a clue. They might not know how important it is to you, so they might not think they're doing anything wrong. They might not think they're affecting you. If you've not told them, you can't expect that of them. So you need to have that conversation. So that's number one, that's your environment. Number two, your energy. If you are underfueling yourself, if you are restricting yourself, and if you've got no structure when it comes to your food that you eat on a day-to-day basis, you're going to be hungry. You're not going to have any consistency. When you are hungry, when there's no consistency with your diet, you will be more likely to snack. You need to get structure in place with your food. You need to be eating 3 to 4 times a day, maybe 5 times, whatever suits you best. You need to have a balance of protein, carbs, and fats. You need to be hitting a suitable calorie target for you and your body and your goals. And you need to make sure that you're not underfueling or restricting yourself. If you start to underfuel or restrict, you will then snack. Allow yourself as well, here's a bonus tip, allow yourself to have a small portion of the things that you're trying to stop yourself having a couple of times a week, 3 times a week, whatever suits you. Make it work within your target. If you restrict too much, you'll want it more. If you allow yourself to have a little bit of it, you'll be more controlled, and you won't need to be disciplined because you'll just have the structure in place, which means that you don't need to rely on the willpower or the discipline. You just need to follow the system. Number 3, your self-talk, your habits, and your stress all come together. You convince yourself that you can't stop before you've even put the right system in place to stop. You tell yourself that that's just how you are, so, it's not your fault, right? And no amount of willpower or discipline or whatever you want to call it is going to stop that. That's the problem. You're already telling yourself you can't do something. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. So if you're telling yourself that you'll never be able to stop snacking, then you won't, and that's on you, and that's your problem. If you tell yourself you've got no control, you're lying to yourself. It's not that you don't have any control, it's that you don't have the right system in place. And there's a big difference. You have to deal with this inner self-sabotage that you've been doing for however long. Take a moment right now to think back at how long you have struggled with snacking. How many years has this gone on for? Because I guarantee it's a lot more than you think. You're not going to suddenly overcome that with some willpower and discipline. It comes down to all of the things I've mentioned, especially your self-talk. Maybe something's happened in your life previously that resulted in you turning to food for comfort. Maybe there was a trigger point. Maybe something changed. Maybe something traumatic happened and food was the thing that you found comfort in. You're not going to overcome that with some willpower or discipline. You have to work on that because that's what you've always known. You've always known how to lean into food, how to find comfort in food when something goes wrong. So now we need to reverse it. One of my clients, Bridie, she actually used to do the exact same thing. Food was her comfort for her whole life. And it wasn't until we had a really deep conversation about this that I asked her some questions that made her really think and triggered her and took her back to her childhood and took her back to certain events that happened where her poor relationship with food and snacking really started. And Bridie was still struggling with her snacking at the start of her level up journey. And in fact, for the first 12 to 18 months, she struggled. She'd still find herself in the cupboard at night because she hadn't dealt with the real reason as to why she was snacking. She was still trying to be disciplined to overcome it. And that works sometimes, but it doesn't work for good. It doesn't change everything for good. When she got the right system in place, when she followed the system to a T, she stopped snacking. And now look, she no longer snacks. She follows the system. She's dropped 33 pounds and she feels the best she's ever felt. Also, side note, she stopped smoking and self-sabotaging. So look, just extra proof for you. Environment and planning beats willpower every single day of the week. Your willpower is temporary, but your systems are permanent. That's the difference. You're trying to use something temporary to fix something, whereas we need a permanent solution in place. That's the only way you're going to overcome it. A system's going to provide you a structure. It's not going to restrict you. It's not going to overwhelm you. And it will allow you to dig deeper and deal with the self-sabotage that is causing you to snack in the first place. I've actually put together a free training that shows you how you can overcome this. I'll put the link below in the description, how to actually stick to your goals even when motivation runs out. Motivation, discipline, willpower, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same thing. And in the training, I break down the 3 key steps that you need to implement to overcome this. But off the back of this episode, I really want you to take some time to think, okay, what is the reason for me snacking in the first place? Is it down to my environment? Is it down to my self-talk? Is it down to my energy? Is it down to my habits, my stress? Like, get so clear on it. And for most of you, it's going to be more than one thing. And for most of you, if not all of you, it will be because you don't have the right system in place to overcome it. Without a system, you are relying on temporary things. Willpower and discipline. They come and go just like motivation does. They fade so quickly. So it's not your fault that you don't have loads of discipline. It's not your fault that you don't have loads of willpower, because you were never going to have loads of that anyway. It's your fault that you don't have the system in place. It's your fault you're relying on those things. As soon as you get the system in place, everything changes, because the system's guaranteed to work. So when you follow something that's guaranteed to work, you get results. And it literally is as simple as that. And we don't have to overcomplicate it. We don't have to overthink this. It's as simple as finding the right system. So if you do think that snacking means you've got no self-control, then I hope this episode has made you think otherwise. I hope you can sit there and go, right, I actually just need to get the right things in place. I need to look at my environment. I need to look at my energy. I need to look at my self-talk, massive one, my stress and my habits. Highlight those things, put the system in place, and then you'll get the results. As I said, click the link below to download the free training. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I look forward to speaking to you on the next one.